Welcome to Walking with Jesus Bible Study. We are going to be in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 12. I have made the earth and created man upon it. Even my hands have stretched out the heavens, and all their hosts have I commanded. And I'm going to repeat that. I have made the earth and created man upon it. Even my hands have stretched out the heavens, and all their hosts have I commanded. God has created all things. For there was nothing that was created that wasn't created by God. All that is, was, and ever will be is God's. Everything good, all the love, joy, and happiness all comes from God. Everything that we have that is good comes from God. And did you know? It says in the Bible. A lot of people say, oh yeah, we are all God's children. That is not true. We are all God's creation, but we are not all God's children. There is some children that belong to evilness. And it says it in the Bible. Jesus even called the Pharisees and the Sadducees, you children of Satan. You're hypocrites. You're just like your father, the father of all lies. And who's the father of all lies? Satan. Now here's the thing. Satan is not the God of this earth. No, he is not. And everybody's going to go, oh, but he is. Oh, but he is not. Jesus doesn't call him that. God didn't call him that. In fact, the only time Jesus called him anything about that, he says that he is the prince of darkness. Not even a king. Not even a king. Now, why do people call him the God of this earth? Because there is one scripture in the Bible where it refers to him as that. And people have taken that verse and ran with it and is calling him literally the God of the earth. And they're taking it out of context. Because it's not saying that he is. It is implying that he is, because he roams to and fro on this earth seeking what he can and will kill and destroy. And as generations have gone by, it is the evilness of this world that is running things like the government, the school systems, the healthcare, the medicine, and contaminating the food. So he is running wild and crazy, running the world, but he is not God of this world, because for one thing, there's only one God. It says in the Bible, only one God. And those of us who belong to God should know this, that there's only one God. That even when you talk about such false gods, they're not even God, because what does false mean? Not. So there's no such thing as false gods, because there's only one God, and even the false gods don't exist because they are false. They're demons. Call them what they are, demons. Demons. There's only one God. He is the creator of everything. And did you know that it even says in the Bible that even God created evil for certain reasons? I don't know how many of you have read the story of Exodus, and where it says on there with Pharaoh that God hardened his heart again. Some people can take that offensive and even be like, well, that's kind of harsh, because he would have let the people go, but God hardened his heart, and so he then refused to do it. So if God wouldn't have hardened his heart, he would have let the people go. But then God wouldn't have been able to show his mighty, mighty power, that he is the God of everything. He is the great I am. And God can just easily get rid of Satan. He could. Oh man, back when I was coming to Christ and I was in this deep warfare attack, and I was like, God, you can just end this charade right now. Like, why are you continuing to keep playing this stupid game? Why don't you just get rid of Satan? Because he has a purpose. Even Satan has a purpose. Could you imagine that? So when God tells you that all his creations, including you, have a purpose, even Satan and evil has its purpose. And that's why we must not lean onto our own understanding, but trust in God, because he sees and knows the whole picture. You know, many of us would not even come to Christ if we didn't face all the evil that we had faced and hit rock bottom to where we had nothing left. But all we could do was just cry out to God as a last resort, because we had nothing left. And there'd be many people right now who would have never cried out to God if it wasn't for all the evil in their life. And the biggest question, and the biggest thing that weighs heavy almost everybody's heart, was, if God exists, why does he allow evil to exist? Honey, because you exist. Because you exist. If you want to be that shysty about some things, then God would have to get rid of you, because you are evil. You was conceived in evil. You was born in evil. You have committed evil things. You have had evil thoughts. So if he was to get rid of evil, he would have to get rid of you. Satan has a reason and a purpose, and it's all part of God's plan. And everything is going. God sees it all. And there's a reason for everything. We may not like it. We may not could see its purpose. But it is perfect. Because if you've noticed, as everything that God has created is perfect. How it operates, how the body functions, how we are born, how we grow inside, what each little part of our body does inside of our body to make the body do what the body does. Same thing when it comes to a plant or a tree. How the mountains form. How the ocean just stops right there at the very edge and doesn't consume the whole world. Perfection. So the evil that we all hate and can't stand and don't understand why it exists has a purpose. And is all part of the perfect plan that God has placed and set into motion. For he created all things, and all things that he has created is perfect, fearfully and wonderfully made. Without the evil Pharaoh, we wouldn't have the exodus of Moses. Without the evilness in this world, we wouldn't have the whole entire God story. This is why we got to trust God and know that everything is going to come out for good and for his glory and for his kingdom, because that's what it's all about. This whole thing is all about God. It's all about his will, and it's all about his kingdom. This is God's story, and his plan is perfect. So we got to place our full trust on the fact, knowing that God and everything that he does is perfect.